If you've ever been curious about some of the benefits of eating locally and seasonally, then I think you're really going to enjoy today's guest on Growing Places. With me to talk about these topics and more is Wen-Jay Ying, who's the founder and CEO of Local Roots. Welcome to the channel, Wen-Jay.
Hi guys. So that is a very complicated answer and it's different levels. So on the level of why it benefits consumer to eat seasonally, it is one, when you're eating with the seasons and what is just coming out of the ground, you're going to be encouraging yourself to eat different kinds of vegetables and you might buy for yourself at the grocery store. So for example, my standards that I've just been taught growing up, if I'm going to the grocery store, probably like broccoli, peppers, and like potatoes, they're just like the simple ones. I'd probably be buying those vegetables every time I went to the grocery store. That means you're only like getting nutrients from those vegetables, the same vegetables every time. But when I'm eating seasonally, I'm eating something different every single week, which means that I'm diversifying the nutrients coming into my body. And if you ask any nutritionist, they will tell you that you should be eating the rainbow, not Skittles, but like just different colors of vegetables for the best nutrients. So from like a nutrition standpoint, it's important to eat seasonally. I'm the kind of cook that likes to open my fridge and I'll cook whatever I have in there. It really helps with decision fatigue for myself, where I can just figure out what I'm cooking with what I have. If you try to scour the internet for recipes, it will take you forever and then you have to buy the ingredients for that recipe. For me, it's too many options to choose from. I really, really enjoy when someone meaning the seasons and Mother Earth is telling me what I should be eating, and I have to just cook whatever I have in my fridge. But again, like that, I know that is really, there's some people like to cook based off of recipes. Some people like to cook based off of what's in season. It depends on the person's personality. I would say from an environmental standpoint, when you're eating seasonally, so say for example, a CSA farm is growing multiple varieties on their farm because they know that they can offer their consumers different vegetables all the time. And diverse crops on their farm, it helps with them to grow sustainably. So it's really important for CSA farms to have different varieties on their farm. And what happens when you have different varieties of vegetables on your farm is it actually helps with the soil health on your farm. So the healthier the soil is, the healthier your vegetables are. And if you're talking about a monocrop farm, say, for example, a farm that only grows tomatoes. The reason why that's hard to grow sustainably, one, is that bugs will constantly remember where to come back to for their little snacks, the tomatoes. So they know this is the location where I'm always going to get tomatoes because it's always here. But what diverse farms do, a CSA farm, is they'll rotate this, say, tomato field. They'll move it around their farm every year so that the bugs can't remember to come back, where to come back to eat their snack. But also, when you talk about monocrop farms, if you're only growing one kind of vegetable over and over and over, it's depleting the health of the soil. And the UN actually has a statistic that the world has about 60 years left to farm on soil before we cannot farm anymore. And that is due to conventional agriculture because we keep stripping the nutrients out of the soil using pesticides by growing only one crop on a farm, that at some point within 60 years, we cannot farm on the land anymore. So there are huge reasons environmentally to be eating seasonally and supporting more diverse vegetables. And there's the nutrition aspect of it. And there's also the convenience of just eating whatever Mother Earth has to give us. Well, first I want to ask you, how do other countries eat? How do they shop for food? Are they constantly getting things imported so they can have one product all year round? If you go to Cuba, does that happen? No, they don't. People traditionally just do not have access to food, same kinds of vegetables and fruit all the time, right? Our country does it, but not every country does it. That does not mean that we have to just keep doing what we're doing. You know, like for example, you say a lot of people are like, oh, I love traveling to this country because the food is just so fresh. It's like, how is it that we have to go to a different country to have fresh food? And how is it that we live in America and we know that the level of our produce is the worst? That to me is so confusing. We have endless amounts of money in this country, people that want to work on the technology for something better, but we don't have the systems for it. It's insane to me. So we're just okay now. We just accepted the fact that our food is just not on par with other countries. When I say food, I mean the produce, right? Which also affects the restaurants with how good their food's going to be, because if the restaurant's using fresh produce, it's going to taste better. Yeah, I think the future of food in New York City could be a hybrid of having more rooftop farms, having more just community gardens and urban farms. Community gardens are really important for food access in New York City. And combined with, can we be growing more indoors? You know, there's a lot of abandoned warehouses in New York City. So can we be taking those abandoned warehouses and figuring out an affordable way for us to be growing vegetables and whatever kind of food inside, in addition to the soil-based farms in the Northeast? I think all those things combined are really important to have a stronger food system. There needs to be a lot more regulation around the greenwashing terms. There needs to be a way for people to easily trace their food. There's a lot of companies that say they do something, but they don't. And it's hard for a customer to really know how grocery service is sourcing their vegetables because they're not in this warehouse, right? So if you could see, oh, I got this food delivered to me, I know it came from this farm because there's some way to trace it. That I think would make a huge benefit to the honesty in our industry. There just needs to be more of a revival of cooking at home in New York City. Our lifestyle just is not set up for that. And we definitely push recipes. We're obviously pushing people to cook more at home. If there can be campaigns that the city puts out about cooking at home, easy, quick recipes for the weeknight, because we need people to be cooking at home, to be supporting the local farms, for there to be even more people farming, and you know, it all kind of is connected. So I think, yes, the hybrid of having more urban farms, hydroponic farms, or indoor growing with soil-based farms, and having more traceability with your food, so you can really navigate all this greenwashing and all the shady stuff that happens in the food industry. And if there's a way to really just have the city promote more fresh veggies and fruits and promote more cooking at home, would, to me, be the ideal vision for New York City. And so my final words to the online food community is really just to be curious where your food comes from, and to ask farmers questions or ask more people questions. You can DM me questions if you want to be the change you want to see in the world. That even if you're not working in the food industry, your buying choices truly do make a huge difference in the ways that companies run, the ways that support local economies, support local farms. It's really a vote for something good if you can support and eat and shop local and from organic farms. And at Local Roots, we're having some really big things happening in April that people should just follow us at Local Roots NYC on Instagram, or sign up for our newsletter, or just go to our website, localrootsnyc.com, to find out what the huge news is in April. And if you are a New Yorker, you can subscribe to any of our bundles. We have options for single people, for families, for omnivores, for vegetarians, all at localrootsnyc.com. And yeah, you can just be friends with us, even if you don't want to buy our food.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Wen-Jay. It's been great to have you on the channel. Folks, you've been listening to Growing Places, which is our series here at Urban Leaf, where we explore the stories of the entrepreneurs and innovators who are changing the way we eat. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.